In today's interview, the GSP Forum interview, we shall be hosting a professor of medicine, first ever professor of medicine in Eggon Land, a female professor of medicine in Eggon Land. Professor, may we meet you, please?
Thank you very much. First, my name is Esther Awazzi Envuladu. I'm a professor of community medicine.
Community medicine.
My subspecialty is sexual and reproductive health. Reproductive health is actually my domain. On the community medicine, some people will look at it as public health, but public health is actually a subset of community medicine.
Okay.
I'm married to Engineer Beatrice Alaku Envuladu, and we're blessed with 3 children, 3 boys.
Okay. And a girl.
I don't have a girl.
Okay.
3 boys. Henry Envuladu, Hillel Envuladu, and Haniel Envuladu. I'm also blessed with others who stay with me. I still have a girl who stays with me, and she is my daughter. And she also bears my name. She's
Great.
Esther too.
Oh,
So that is my family. I work in the University of Jos as a lecturer. I'm a professor, like you know. Presently, I'm the Deputy Provost of the College of Health Sciences, University of Jos. And I'm also a consultant with the Jos University Teaching Hospital. Basically, this is who I am. My parents, born into the family of Emmanuel Angbazu.
okay.
So that is it. I have siblings, but I'm glad to mention to you now, but my mother has 4 girls.
You're number...
I am number 1.
First.
I'm the first of the 4 girls.
Okay.
Yes. Angbazu family is a large family, like you know. So I have so many other brothers and sisters, cousins, and so on. But I've already mentioned to you who my husband is already.
Yeah.
So I'm now an Envuladu.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. So your educational background?
Educational background, I began in primary school. I went to RCM Primary School in Akwanga, Alushi. From there, I went to St. Louis College. That's where I concluded my secondary education.
Okay.
And then I went to University of Jos. University of Jos. From there, I thought I should actually specialize. You know, it wasn't just comfortable, just being a medical officer or just comfortable with the MBBS, that is Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery. So I decided to further into residency. I went to residency in community medicine and became a consultant. And from there, I chose the path of academia and joined the university. So that is it.
As a female professor, what are your drivers into this field of medicine?
Into the field of medicine. I want to, suppose you're asking me what's actually, you know, motivated me to read medicine or something, how I started. The story began from my primary school. Being in primary school, somebody identified me as an intelligent girl in the primary school. Funny enough, I was good in mathematics. Mathematics was my best. But of course, I was doing very well. And one of these days in primary school, like, which is very, very much vivid in my mind. Then the late Lady Teresa Weah.
Oh, I know her.
Yes. So,
mommy.
Yes. Very fantastic woman. She was the headmistress then. At that time. And she brought me out of the assembly hall. It was a morning assembly. And she brought me out of the assembly and she said, look at this girl. There are people like this that will be great people in our community. A girl like this can become a doctor. They are the ones that will be doctors in the future because see how she's performing very well. And that just engraved in my mind, doctor. I had no idea what doctor was, what medicine was all about. But when she said it, it stuck in my mind. So I began to nurture that, okay, doctor, yes, I can be a doctor, you know. So it made me to work hard. I kept on. And I had one teacher. We used to call him Teacher John.
Okay.
I don't know. I think he's late now.
Okay.
But he used to live around that Ola area.
Okay.
Teacher John. He was good with mathematics and he loved those who could, you know, who were also good in mathematics. So he had interest in teaching us, you know. So I used to like him as a teacher because he was a very good teacher. To me, he was my best teacher.
Wow.
So
you liked his subjects?
Yes, the mathematics. He taught me well. He taught me well. You know, the school was a mission school at that time. So that was my first motivation. I mean, a drive, actually. The first person who actually put in that idea into me. The other person was maybe after being in secondary school, you know, was my late uncle. Again, he is late. He is actually my cousin, but of course, by seniority and all that, and you know how our culture is, we call them uncles. He believed in my capabilities, so he encouraged me. And he used to say, Esther, do you want to read medicine? I would say yes. So he was visiting me in school and encouraging me. But when I finished secondary school, he actually made sure I got into university to read the medicine I wanted to read. So he was also one of the drivers for me to read medicine. The other person is my late uncle again, the Arego. The late Arego, Balangbazo. Yes,
our father.
Yes. For him, he was one person who loved education. Right. Of course, you can see it in his children, you know, but we were not left out as his nieces and nephews around. Yeah. But one encouragement was that he was always talking about going to school and study what will benefit you. So he kept saying it. And I remember one day he said, read a course that even if you don't get a job, you will find something to do. He also knew I was doing well in school. So he was very happy with me. He loved me a lot. And he encouraged me as a girl child. You know, he didn't have that discrimination of either male or female. So he really wanted everyone to achieve. So for me, he was one person that stood out for me who actually promoted the girl child. I will never forget him. I will never forget him. Because my mother had only girls.
Oh, really?
My mother had only girls. And you imagine the culture around that, growing up and hearing all the things, the noises around and so on. But he didn't do that. He kept encouraging. I remember that when I finished secondary school, he had to ask, you know, make sure she gets into the university. But then I knew he had mentioned something like reading medicine. He was talking about selling Panadol, even if you read the course, even if you have to sell Panadol, you will not be hungry. Yes, so that was it. So the last person, I reserved it for the best, not the least now, is my mother. My mother was one encourager. She didn't exactly say medicine, but she just wanted us to do something, to be our best. And perhaps maybe because of what was going on around her, so she kept encouraging, go back to school, go to school, read. That was all she kept saying. And she focused all her energy on me. And I remember she used to say, if you get it right, your younger ones will get it right. You know, so she will come and say to me, you are my boy, you are my girl. You know, so I grew up with that, perception that I am everything, I couldn't be less than a man, that kind of thing, because she would tell me, you can do it, just go to school, make sure you read. So these are actually people that drove, me into doing what,
medicine.
Yes, I would say medicine, but maybe not exactly medicine, but being who I am right now, and at least studying to this point that I am. Many other people around, sometimes you just see people that may not speak to you, but they give you that push, or they influence you to do something. The environment also helped me, because being in St. Louis, there are a lot of Reverend sisters around. You see some that are already doctors coming around, and sometimes they give career talk and all that. But my mind was already made up from that primary school. So I owe it to
Teresa.
Yes, Lady Teresa, our dear mother, and she happens to be an aunt to me too. I owe it to her, because the moment she said it, I had no idea of any other course to read apart from medicine.
Coincidentally, Mother Teresa is one of those mothers that actually encouraged me to do what I'm doing today.
Wow. Yes. So I'm not alone, I know.
Yes, you
I'm
did.
not alone.
Honestly.
I'm not alone.
So being a female professor of medicine, I'm sure you must have gone through a lot of hurdles of becoming what you are today at this very young age. What are those challenges that you probably must have faced? So that people can learn from it, and how you overcame them?
Yeah. Interestingly, and thanks to God, I'm someone that challenges don't bring me down. Rather, they serve as stepping stones, or maybe they are like motivators, let me say, for me to move on. Medicine, is not an easy course. So I will start with having to begin medicine, get enrolled into the university. My mother was one person that I felt I needed to help my mom. My mom went through a lot. And growing up and seeing things around, I felt I want to help my mother. How do I help my mother? In my mind, I have to read. Why do I want to read? Because I knew that was the only way I could achieve. That was the only way I could become something important, or how do I say? Useful, I knew that was the only way. So that was the first thing to push me into reading. And then there was she always ringing it on your head to read, to read, So I didn't really have a social life. I didn't have a social life because I was already focused. My mind was how to become a doctor. And medicine is bulky. You will have to, very stressful. You have to read a lot, and you have to read very wide. So maybe before the medicine, somebody challenged me before I got admission. And he said, I had a slot for admission in the university, but not you, because I don't think you can read medicine.
Wow.
For me, it was like, that was a challenge. It was painful, but it was a challenge.
And he didn't give it to you?
He didn't, not through him. And I felt, what? As painful as it is, as I sit today, he's one of the people that I'm most grateful to. Because that spurred me into studying. I didn't get the admission directly. And then I'll refer you back to my my uncle, Actually, my cousin, like I said, that is Simon Angbazu, late. And I was with him. I was short of 1 point to get into medicine.
Just 1 point?
1 point to get into medicine. So they offered me pharmacy. I said no. They said, okay, mathematics. I said no. And then there was geomining. I said no. And then he came back and said to me, do you really want to read the medicine? I said, it's medicine or nothing else. I was sitting down at home and he brought a remedial form for me. And he said, go and
make up that 1 point.
Yes. So I went into remedials and I read. At this time, I said to myself, I don't want anybody to take the glory. Let God take the glory.
Exactly.
If God wants me to read medicine, then I'll get it here. And Professor Mary Ango, she was the coordinator of remedial studies
at that time.
Yes. She did something. She had a way of encouraging Eggon people. She never came one-on-one. She never influenced anything, but she wanted us to read. I knew she was there. You see, she was there. I never spoke to her one-on-one, but there were people that were like, you see and you want to become like, oh, she's
a role model.
A role model, you know. So I thought, okay, I read. And then I remember that my father said, okay, now that you're about to finish remedials, maybe you should go back to your uncle. I said, I don't want anybody's help. If I'm getting this medicine, let me get it by merit. I went to the board and I saw my name there under medicine. You know what I did? I just went down on my knees in front of everybody and I was like, God, thank you. So I knew that I could work hard. It means that the person who challenged me that I could not read medicine
didn't know the capacity.
Didn't know that there was something God could do. So I was very happy. I'm grateful to him. So it was one of the challenges.
Yeah.
Books were expensive, but I'm grateful to God, people around me. My father did his best. My mom did her utmost best to support me. I had cousins here and there who were also supporting, you know, and I'm grateful to them. I don't take it for granted. Someone who has helped you with transport money here, gave you one pocket money there, up to today, I respect them for that. Some of them don't even know because I have not forgotten.
That's true.
So these are some of the challenges in studying, but yes, God saw me through and I went through it successfully.
The Eggon man, typical Eggon man, they have a system of their belief and herbal practices, and they have a kind of lifestyle they live. How would you relate the field of medicine, being the first female professor in medicine, and you were an Eggon person? Did you look at that angle? If you can relate that, what we're doing, what we're practicing, and relating that with the health of the Eggon man.
Yeah. You know, medicine also started, you know, rudimentarily. Even those who are practicing medicine right now, you can actually trace it to a root where it started.
Yes.
The practice of herbal medicine and so on is not, I wouldn't say, it's never bad, you know, because at that time that was what they had available. And of course they were using it and it helped. Yes, it gave them results. But with modern medicine right now, you begin to see the difference in the sense that the drugs that we use, we also use the herbs, you know, but the difference is that this is actually dose controlled, but the herbs don't have any dose control.
Okay. But they both work.
They both may work. Because at that time it worked. It worked. Not that it is not working or it didn't work. Even up to now, people still use it. The only worry you would talk about now is the fact that there wasn't evidence okay, in the use of the herbal medicine, but there is evidence with the modern medicine. Now, the evidence I'm talking about is not to say whether it has yielded result or not. Yes, but medicine actually has gone through a lot of experimentation. Okay. They've done a lot of trials, medical trials. It's based on research that is giving you the result. Okay, but the use of the herbs may not. The dosage is not also the same. So the herbs don't have control, and because of the way it is taken, sometimes may cause some damage in the process. Like the dose is not controlled, it may end up having effect on your organs like the kidneys and the liver, but they all are effective. So, and like I said, if only the use of the herbs will be allowed to go through some process of, having to see what it is like, maybe go through clinical trial, and then also to be able to ascertain the dose that is sufficient for the system, for the body. I think we're going to achieve a lot. But it is crude in its own way, the way it is being used, consumed without, control of the amount or the quantity that the body requires. Modern medicine is targeted at a disease, not like the herbs that it is said to be like to cure everything. Okay. It's targeted at a disease and pathology that it is going to handle and so on. Maybe that's just the difference, but I believe that if they allow it, we'll get much more than what the benefit of what we're having right now. There's also the phytomedicine going on. Pharmaceutical companies, of course, make use of those herbs too, but in moderation, controlled. And they know what amount to use.
Okay. Oh, that's great. So, Prof, what will we now use?
Again, I think there's some other practices, that probably have worked in those days, like bone setting and so on. Now is a bit out of what the modern medicine is doing right now, because for them, they just do it like try and error. Yes. You get it right or not. But of course, they did their best. I would have said, if we're able to identify such people and then train them, give them some form of training, that would have helped. They may not be the ones treating, but they can identify and be the linkage with the health system right now.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so that's great. So what would you now say are the advantages of probably our youth studying medicine over other courses in the university?
Well, as a professor of medicine right now, I would say there's no course that is not important. I want to be quick to tell you that other courses are not relevant. It's just that we can't all be the medical field. But the medical field is a noble profession, and it's a profession that is targeted to humans. Okay? And you want to help human lives. You want to save lives. So, and it is a profession that there's no way you cannot affect human beings. You cannot be beneficial to them, which makes it a bit different. Again, it is also a field that is disciplined. There's a lot of discipline in medicine. Again, like my uncle used to say, it is also a field that you can hardly say you don't find something to do. You will not say that you'll be jobless. You may not be rich. In fact, the idea of making money is not for people who want to read medicine. If you want to make money, you don't read medicine. But But if you want to help humanity, you will read medicine. And if you read medicine, you can never be out of job. You can never be, because there must be something you would do to help people. So for the young boys and girls, we still need a lot of doctors. We still are not enough in this country, even though still some people are still leaving the country. But as it is, we don't have enough. I will encourage them to come into medicine. Some people already have this ideology that medicine is difficult. It's not. Engineering is more difficult.
Than medicine.
To me. That is to me. Let me even surprise you. I think history is difficult because I can't put up with dates, names.
Time.
I mean, how do they do that? How do they do that? I admire Honorable Labaran Mako. I see him as very intelligent when he stands to speak, and the way I know he read history. I don't know what he did later on, but I feel I can't do that. But medicine requires someone who is disciplined and someone who is consistent, because you have to be consistent in studying. So that is it. So as long as you can live social life out of it, but it is a noble profession. And so I want to encourage them to come into it. Even if it is not to be a doctor, there's nothing there. There are other health-related fields, courses, yes, because our people need it. We're in dire need of health workers. And yet people are crying that there's no job. But they don't want to venture into something that will make them, maybe work harder. So I will encourage them to do that. And we have very intelligent people in Eggon Land. I know that you hear this saying that an Egoman is a determined person.
Yeah.
Same with an Eggon woman. I think it is in the blood.
Yeah, it's just there. They are all children of Eggon.
Yes, the story I have heard is that we're actually a very strong people. The women have been very strong, very resilient.
Yeah.
So I think they should come in. I'm encouraging them too. People who read medicine don't have two heads. I don't have two heads.
Yeah, I can see it's one.
Yes.
So, Prof, this today's world, we talked about AI. With the advent of AI, what's going to happen? What's the hope or the prospect of medicine still? Because AI is something that you can, even without studying medicine, people can just sit in their house and then read about certain symptoms. And you could just tell them, suggest things to them, and they do it, and it solves their problem, especially with the economic hardship. People wouldn't want to go to hospitals and all that. And they said most doctors charges very high. So what would you say?
AI is good when the world has already gone ahead. We can't be left behind. AI is also what is used in medicine, because medicine is also advancing. AI is used in many fields in medicine, beginning from, even the medical equipment, medical diagnosis.
Yeah.
In fact, even the telemedicine. In the use of telemedicine, it's also the use of AI. I can be here as a professional, and maybe someone is in a remote place. And with the use of AI, you can actually provide service
to the person.
Area. Okay. Yes.
How do you do that?
There are technologies, and there's also, of course, artificial intelligence. There are also equipment that you can actually use to do that. Well, some talk about robotic. We've not yet reached, we're not up on, to that level of using robotics right now. Of course, others are able to do that. But you can also use modern technology to be able to relate to someone that you can actually direct to do certain things there in the rural area. Interestingly, because I'm in community medicine too, AI can be used to reach to communities. because we are population based. You look at the health of a population, you use it. We use AI in research, so AI has come to stay, and we have to meet up with that challenge and work with it. So it is good, but it can't replace humans. It is not everything that AI can do for you.
Okay.
It is whatever you feed in that you get back.
Okay.
And it needs the brains, human brains, to be able to feed it. It is still humans who are operating it.
Right.
So we can't leave human beings out of it. And in medicine, you also need one-on-one
interaction.
You need to see for yourself. So that is there to actually augment, but it cannot take the place of humans. That is one important thing we need to know. There are also some ethical issues that we need to be careful with the use of AI. There's also error. There can also be error with the use of AI. So that human brain that God has created is still very important. Yes.
Okay, well, that's great. Prof, thank you very much for that explicit explanations on AI in the field of medicine. The other thing I want to know more is, do you have any particular concern about the mental health development of the Eggon youths, maybe the boys and girls?
Um,
Special concern?
I do.
Okay.
A lot of concern.